In the book of Devarim, the 5th book of the Torah, we find a piska be'emsa pasuk, which means we find a break in the actual passage. In the Torah scroll, there is a break in the pasuk in a passage, and the second part of the passage starts a new paragraph. That's called a piska be'emsa pasuk. We only find this phenomena 3 times in all of the 5 books of Moses. And one of these 3 times are found in this week's Parsha. What is the pasuk that is split into 2? So it's found in Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse number 8. And it goes on to say there, the Torah tells us, so we passed from our brothers, the children of Esau who dwell in Seir, from the way of the Arava, from Elas, and from Etzrein Gover. You have now a break. It starts a new paragraph, and it goes on to say, and we turned and passed on the way of the Moabite. So the question is, why is there a break in the middle of a pasuk, in the middle of a passage, in the middle of one sentence? There should not be a break and the starting of a new paragraph. So it's important to note that every parsha, every portion of the Torah has a theme. From Bereshis or Noach or Lech Lecha, every portion is given a name, and the entire parsha, the entire portion, is based on this theme. So there's one theme, the name of the portion, and now the theme has many concepts. Similar to a play. There's one play, but the play can have many scenes. So there's one theme in the parsha, and then that one theme also brings out many concepts. Then you have a paragraph. What's a paragraph in the Torah? A paragraph means it's one concept, but it has many details. And then you have a pasuk, which is a passage. A pasuk is one detail, but it has many nuances. So the fact now that there is a piska be'emsa pasuk, there's a break in the middle of the passage, this would imply that even though this one passage is one detail, it has within it 2 diametrically opposite nuances. And what is the 2 diametrically opposite nuances? The 2 opposite nuances is Seir and Moab. Seir represents the people of Esau, and Moab, we know, was born from the daughter of Lot. And therefore we can answer now this piska be'emsa pasuk on 3 levels. On a simple level of pshat, on a level of drush, of homiletics, and also on the level of chassidus, based on Hasidism. And that is that there's a major difference between Moab and Seir. We are told that the Jewish people may provoke Moab, but they may not provoke them for a war. But when it comes to Esau, it says, do not provoke them at all. So we see there's a major difference. How you're to handle the PR between Moab and Seir. So even though both of them are in the same passage, and we turned away from both of them, however, when it came to Seir, we were not allowed to provoke them at all. However, when it came to Moab, we may provoke them, but we cannot provoke them to have a war. Now, why is that so? This is because of the next concept, which is the homiletics, which is the drush. There was a major difference between Esau and Moab. We are told that Esau, even though he was very wicked, he had one very unique quality, and that is he had kibud av. He had tremendous, tremendous respect for his father. He would do anything for his father. And the Gemara points that out, that we should learn from Esau. that even though he was a wicked person, he had this redeeming quality that he would do anything for his father to honor his father in the greatest measure. In the contrast to Moab, what was Moab? Moab was born from Lot. We know when God turned over Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot ran away with his 2 daughters. And the 2 daughters of Lot thought that God brought an end to the whole world. And they figured that if it's not up to us, if we're not going to do something about it, there'll be no continuity to humankind. So both of these daughters had relations with their father. However, the older daughter called her child Moab from my father. And because she did that, she embarrassed her father. So Moab is the diametric opposite of Esau. And that is why Esau you are not to provoke at all, but Moab you may provoke. Because Esau had tremendous kibbud of honor for his father. However, Moab, on the contrary, disgraced her father. And therefore there's a break in the actual passage to show us that even though they're similar, but yet they're very different. And then we go on to the Hasidic interpretation. And that is that Seir, which represents the people of Esau, Seir literally means the hair of one's head. What is the hair of one's head? So in Chassidus we are told that the hair represents the external part of wisdom. The internal part of wisdom, that's in the brain. But the external part of wisdom, that is the hairs that go through the skull. And in those hairs you have the external part of wisdom. And from the external part of wisdom, God brought forth the 24 books of the Chumash and the prophets and the writings. These are the 24 books that are the 24 strands of God's hair, of God's wisdom. They are God's external wisdom. For God's internal wisdom, there's no way for us to grasp. But even his external wisdom is infinite. So Seir represents God's wisdom. What is Moab? Of, father, also represents wisdom. However, Moab is from father, means from wisdom. In other words, Moab represents the wisdom that one uses to build a business. It's secular wisdom. It's not holy wisdom. So because we are dealing here between Seir, which is holy wisdom, and Moab, which is secular wisdom, so therefore there's a break in the pasuk. Now, even though business wisdom is important, because a Jew is supposed to work. It says in the Torah, 6 days a week shall you work. Jew and non-Jew alike are obligated to support their family. So you have to go out and work, and you have to use your mind to create a business. Yet, at the same time, it's very possible that if you are successful in your business, one might think that they are the master of their own fate. It's their brilliance and their ingenuity and their smartness and their chap that was able to bring about the success in the business, and therefore could bring to arrogance. So comes along the Torah and says you have to make sure that there's a break between Moab and Seir. There has to be a break between the wisdom of business and the wisdom of Torah. And furthermore, during the wisdom of business, during a business day, make a break in the day to go daven mincha. Make a break during the day and study Torah. Make a break during the day to remind you that your business is not your business. It's God's business. And that is why we have over here a break in the middle of the pasuk, a piska b'emsa pasuk. Now all of this ties in with the month of Av. We find ourselves now in the month of Menachem Av. the month that we console our father. So we are told here that Av represents intellect. In general, the father represents intellect, for the father is the one that emits the seed, the concept, the idea. And the mother is Bina, understanding. She elaborates on this intellect for 9 months. So comes along the month of Menachem Av. And we are told that this is a month that we have to console our father. It's a time of tshuva. That even though throughout the entire year, for the last 12 months, we used our mind to build our businesses, and we used our mind for secular things, and even though they were important things, and even though we used the money from these businesses, and we gave 10% to tzedakah to build synagogues and yeshivas and hospitals, and to support the widow and the orphan, etc., etc. At the same time, we have to remember that we have to put ourselves back into the wisdom of Torah, into Seir. And so therefore this month we are told, Mishenichnas Av Mematin. When the month of Av comes about, we are to diminish in secular work, in business. We don't take big business trips in the month of Av. We do more learning, more Torah study. We learn the laws of the building of the Holy Temple. We learn about Geula Mashiach, redemption and Mashiach. For this is a month that's very apropos for the building of the third Holy Temple. So therefore it's called Menachem Av. It's a month that we console the Av, the intellect that was embarrassed because we used our minds too much for secular purposes, and we did not use our mind enough to study the Torah and to honor God and to honor our Father. And this also is tied in with the Shabbos. This Shabbos, the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, is called Shabbos Chazoin. What is Shabbos Chazoin? Shabbos Chazoin is the Shabbos that God shows each and every one of us a vision. Chazoin means a vision. God shows each and every one of us the third Holy Temple, the third Beis HaMikdash. And He tells us, children, I'm ready to bring down the third Holy Temple that has been built and prepared in heaven. It's up to you. Are you ready or not? Are you dedicating your time more to Torah and to prayer and to charity, or perhaps other things? And if God sees that we are truly ready, then the third Holy Temple will come down from heaven, a temple of fire, a temple that will never ever be destroyed again. There's a beautiful mashal, a parable that is given from Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev. And he says like this: what is the meaning of Shabbos Chazoin? There was a father who bought his son a beautiful suit, a nice Italian tailor-made suit, beautiful wool, gorgeous. And the boy ran outside into the backyard, into the playground, and he started to go on the swings and the slides. And what happened? After he went on the monkey bars, he fell and he tore his suit. He comes back running into the shul crying, Tati, I tore my suit. Tati says, don't worry, no problem. I know the tailor, he has more wool. We'll get you another beautiful tailor-made Italian wool suit. Oh, Machaya, the father makes him a second suit. The next Shabbos he puts on the new suit, and during the reading of the Torah, instead of being in the shul, he runs out again to the backyard, and he's playing on the monkey bars, and he falls, and he tears the suit a second time. He runs back in, he's crying, Tati, my suit is torn. The father says, don't worry, I know a tailor. He has plenty of wool. We'll make a third suit. And the son now is waiting to put on the third suit the next Shabbos, and the father says, this suit is going to stay in the closet. And you are going to wear your other suit. And when I see that you are doing tshuva, that you've changed, and now you're more serious, and you're more responsible, then you could put on your new suit. It's ready for you. It's beautiful. It's even better than the first two suits. But you have to be prepared to put on this new suit. And once a year, the father takes out the suit to show the child the suit, to remind him, you see the suit? I made it for you. It's beautiful. It's ready. Anytime you're ready, I'm going to put it on. But you have to show me that you have changed and you have matured and you are truly ready to wear this new suit. And the same is true with the first Beis HaMikdash and the second Beis HaMikdash. God gave us the first temple, and we danced, and we were happy, and we were singing, but we also abused it, and it was destroyed. He gave us the second one, no problem, I have a second temple for you right away. 70 years later, you have a second Beis HaMikdash. And again, we got too excited, and we abused it, and it was destroyed. And we started crying, Tati, we need a suit. We need a third Beis HaMikdash. God says, don't worry, I have a third Beis HaMikdash. I built it myself already. It's ready to descend from the heavens. When I see that you did proper tshuva, when I see that you truly await the Geula, that you're living Mashiachdik, as the Rebbe tells us, not to focus on the past, but to focus on the future. That being that we are in the last generation of exile and the first generation of Geula, that everything we do is part and parcel of the preparation of the third Beis HaMikdash. And when God sees that you're living Mashiachdik, then God will bring down the third Holy Temple, and it will be ready for us and prepared for us, and we'll be able to do what we have to do to bring the sacrifices and to see the Kohanim and the Levim singing the beautiful melodies. And all the Jewish people throughout the entire world, together with all the nations of the world, will come to the Holy Temple, will stream into the Holy Temple to see the glory of God once again in the Holy of Holies. So we hope and pray that these 3 weeks, the 3 weeks of Bein HaMetzarim, when we mourn nationally the destruction of the first and second Holy Temples, should truly be transformed to the greatest days of joy, with the coming of Mashiach, and the greatest day of joy, the building of the third Holy Temple, speedily in our days.
Amen.